Welcome, welcome, welcome to episode 313 of the show with no name. I'm your humble host, Nick, and in today's episode, we're going to be exploring another little old abandoned farmer's house out here in the middle of nowhere up on the plateaus in Washington State. I'd like to call this house Lad's house. And this is kind of a goodbye slash revisit episode that I'm going to do for you guys today. So let's get into this. If you look back on my YouTube channel to a couple years ago, close to the beginning, I came out here and did an episode on this house, and it was episode 22, I believe. And I actually climbed up the plateau and got to this house through the back way. But this time I met some farmers that live nearby and got permission to come out here. And I came out here from the front this time. I had mixed emotions when I came out to see Lad's house this time, because on one hand, I was excited to see it again, because just like all the farmer houses around here, they're all unique and special in their own ways. But where it was sad was this house is one of those houses that's on its last leg, and I'm not sure that I'll ever be out to see it again, to be honest. When we get into the house, you'll see what I'm talking about and how bad of condition it's actually in. A lot of these old farmhouses that have been abandoned from the farmer pioneer era of Washington State are a lot like the cemeteries now. They're still standing, and everybody just kind of farms around them. As you can see, this wheat field just recently got harvested before I came out here, and that's usually how I try to play it. I don't want to mess with the farmer's crops or anything like that in any way. But this house, when I was walking up on it, reminded me a lot of the pioneer cemeteries, how they're left to still stand, but everything around them has been turned into farmland as these farmers' lands have gotten into smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller hands, mainly because of technology, because they don't need as many farmers out here as they used to back in the day. So a lot of these houses just kind of get left behind and taken over as these areas expand and get bigger and bigger and bigger. We're walking up on the house now, and one of my favorite things about these old farmer houses is their windows. I just think they built the most amazing windows back in the day. Now we're inside the house, and you could really see why this is a goodbye episode just as much as it is a revisit episode, because this house truly is on its last leg. As you can see, the stairs and the walls have all gone crooked even at this point. And last time I was here a couple years ago, I was still able to go upstairs and walk around a decent amount, but that's not the case anymore. I was able to get right up to the top of the stairs, and that's about as far as I was trying to go, as you'll see in a couple of minutes. The wind was raging pretty good up here the day I came out to film Lad's house, and it's usually like that up on the plateaus. This area is kind of a nightmare if you're a roof. And that's why a lot of these houses go down so quick. If the roof's not maintained and it ends up slowly blowing off of the house, nothing good can come of that. And another thing that's pretty common in a lot of these houses that are really truly on their last leg out here, as you can see, they were made with the lath and plaster. But this house in particular was interesting because it was a mix of both. As you can see here in the living room, they made it pretty solid with boards, and that's why it's still so sturdy in this area. But as we go over to this other side of the house and they made it with lath and plaster, it's just not nearly as good of a product. And so I've always said that any of these farmhouses that were made with lath and plaster over the solid boards, they really deteriorate a lot faster when they're not kept up. And this house here is no different. I wish I could have seen a few of these houses back in the day before they were so messed up, because I've always enjoyed the uniqueness of each one of these old farmer pioneer houses. Every house has its own style and is just a little bit different than the other. And I think that's something that we're missing with a lot of houses today. A lot of them seem to just look the same and be the same to me. And what I liked about these houses that they made back in the day is each one was just a little bit different. When you walk around the house, you can see that the roof, for all intents and purposes, is gone. The main support beams are still intact, but basically all the shingles have blown off at this point, and it's been like that for a while. So every time it rains or snows, it just hits this house really hard because it has almost no protection. And that's why the upstairs is in such bad condition that it's in now. And I think we're heading there because I've been wanting to show you guys the upstairs. Like I said, I didn't walk around in the rooms because it was too dangerous, but I was able to make it to the top of the stairs and get a couple shots up there to show you guys just how bad it really is up there. And even down here, everything's starting to slant sideways because the whole wall, the whole back wall of the house is starting to separate from the house itself. And it's pretty crazy to see, really. Even the lower levels of the house are getting drenched now every time it rains and snows out here because of the exposed roof. It's so bad that even the second floor is completely exposed, and from the first floor you can literally see the sky now. So like I said, there's really not much roof left to speak of. I'm really excited to show you guys the upstairs, and you can see how uneven everything is up there. But before we go upstairs, I want to show you guys the kitchen, which is the most messed up part of the house. And that's usually the case in most of these houses. The kitchen is usually the first thing to really start deteriorating, I think, because of all the water pipes and stuff. But that's just a guess. Now, as you can see, the second floor bedroom has fallen down into the kitchen now, and with such force that it even took a lot of the cabinets with it. It's that area of the house that is the worst, and it's even pushing that back wall back there away from the house. And I think once that back wall goes, this house is really going to be in trouble. Even boards in the living room ceiling are starting to fall down now, and that's not a good sign. This house really is on its last leg, as you can see. And this is a pretty cool shot here because you could see the upstairs bedroom floor completely falling down and the old window you used to be able to look out up there. And the chimney has fallen down, and all those rocks are adding to the weight. And every year it snows and rains through all that exposure up there and just makes things worse and worse and worse down here. And any time now, before long, this house is either going to collapse or whoever owns it's going to just have it removed and this area will get cleaned up and probably just turn into more farmland, and nobody will ever even know it existed. And again, that's why I want to document these houses so we never forget. And there you see it where the house is splitting right there at that back wall. That is not good, as you can see. That's about all I have to say in this episode. Be sure to watch the whole thing though, because like I said, I do go upstairs and I look around in there more thoroughly in the rest of these videos that I have for you guys in this episode. And later on, I have a pretty cool edit I did of this house with a lot of really cool music on it. I really like doing those, and those seem to be pretty popular. So anyways, I hope you enjoy the rest of the tour of this house, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.